Let's come to the first big upset of the tournament so far, which is Paraguay absolutely stunning Germany.
Is it
Um,
is it
Is
an
it? Is
upset?
it? Is
I,
it a
I think
stunner?
it's
Is it a stunner?
let me
Can we talk about how Mbappe has the most World Cup knockout goals ever now? He has 10 World Cup knockout
Kylian
goals.
Dictador, man. You can't
You
mess with him.
the stutter step as a technique has to go. Welcome to the Dugout. Today is July 1st. Gentlemen, we're closer to 2027 than we are to the start of 2026. Welcome to July. You guys doing well?
Yes.
So let's start off with our first quartet of games, which is Canada beating South Africa and Brazil beating Japan. Both of these games, of course, ended in thrilling fashion with goals in the 90th plus minutes. The Canada-South Africa game, I thought, for most parts, was dull and drab. Canada probably the better off. I think Brazil-Japan was the far more exciting. Mustafa, if you want to touch on both two games, and then we'll dive a little bit more into the Brazil-Japan game when I throw it to you, Easy. Go for it, Mustafa.
So first and foremost, I want to say that Don Carlo can never be wrong because he is just because this man was getting hate for not for saying ke, why isn't he taking off Casemiro? Why isn't he taking off Casemiro? And then he keeps Casemiro on. He hits that clutch header, makes it 1-1. And then he puts Martinelli as basically the forward eight. He doesn't even play him as a proper 10, essentially. And that he gets in that proper half space and gets that 95th minute winner as well. So like this Brazil team is so exciting. They have I think they are now one of the favorites of the tournament. I feel really bad for Japan because I think this was an exciting end-to-end game where either team could have easily won, and that first goal was incredible in my opinion because it was such a hard goal. It was like very good, very good game.
I think Canada, they're decent enough to dominate these sides that are weaker than them. And South Africa was clearly weaker than them. You have to give a lot of credit to Jesse Marsh, the American coach leading Canada. That is another subplot on its own. But they play attacking football, they play bright football, they've got technical players, a plethora of chances missed by Canada. And in the end, they finally found a winning goal. They completely overwhelmed South Africa and deservedly going through to the round of 16. Brazil, Japan, very cagey game for the most part. But they had run out of ideas because Cunha was pulled. He had struggled. Then Paqueta had gone off at halftime with injury, so they started spamming crosses into the box. Eventually, that paid off with Casemiro at the far post. And then that one mistake made by Japan, they did it way back against Belgium, if you remember, in that World Cup knockout in 2018, if I'm not wrong, when they got sucker punched in stoppage time on that counter attack of the corner kick, just offering that bit of space to Martinelli. And like he's done for Arsenal time and again, he finds a goal at the death. Beautiful curling finish. A lot of problems still for Brazil because I thought this was destined to go to extra time. But they do seem to have that extra bit of quality when they need it. Still, Vinny and inshallah, nobody else is really performing for the most part. Even Cunha had a stinker. So remains to be seen what Brazil do in the next round because Norway is going to be a difficult game.
I think Brazil, I would push back on the statement, Mustafa, that they're favorites. I think they have issues there. Casemiro, apart from his header, that midfield was overrun by the Japanese. And at times in that game, I just felt that if Japan just played the game in front of them, or instead of playing the yellow shirts, they could have put this game away.
So
I
true. It,
think
it was very
it,
psychological. You're
it
spot
was
on there.
psychological. They just didn't they felt like they were playing Brazil instead of just playing the players in front of them. The midfield was wide open. Japan was easily going through them, creating chances, but you have to take your chances when you are a smaller team playing against one of these bigger name teams. You have to have the belief to go after them, and and that's what happened. Is that just two momentary lapses of concentration, and Brazil scored both goals, both relatively against the run of play. I don't think Brazil were the better team overall. I think it was a very close game. I think Japan was unlucky. I think Carlo made some excellent decisions, but they're basically going on vibes at this point.
But
Very
on
true. I mean, Carlo Ancelotti's main calling card, main superpower throughout his career has been his management of superstars. He did it at Milan with Pirlo, Rivaldo, Gattuso, Maldini, Nesta, blah 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 blah, and he did that with Real Madrid as well, with the likes of Benzema and CR7 and all those superstars. He knows how to manage a big star-studded unit. That's exactly what he's doing here. Tactically, they've looked very dour at times. They're getting nothing from the right wing, whether it's Rafinha, whether it's Ryan, or whoever you put out there. It's a complete dud. They don't have the fullbacks to bomb forward either. They're missing their frontline choices of Wesley and other choices. Danilo, of all people, I mean, he played for Juve, so I have a lot of love for him, but he's washed to say the least. But he's providing that defensive solidity. Yes, they're difficult to break down, but they have been conceding in almost every game as well. Even Scotland had a few good looks as well. So it's the 2002 side, but with even less flair. If you remember, that was a very hard-nosed team as well. And we saw what they did in 2002. So you never know with Los Seleção, you never know. It could go all the way if they have the luck and the chips falling in their favor.
Let's come to the first big upset of the tournament so far, which is Paraguay absolutely stunning Germany.
Is
Um,
it is it an upset?
Is it a
I think
stunner?
it's
Is it a stunner?
let me I think it's a stunning upset because of the pedigree that the Germans have. However, let's talk about that pedigree after we dissect this game. So Paraguay took the lead, Germany fought back, and at that point, of course, big game player Kai Havertz scoring, we've discussed him. I thought Germany would then go on and win. And you could argue that the goal that was disallowed was harsh, but that's an anti-Arsenal goal basically. The fact that it was disallowed because Arsenal scored goals like that throughout the Premier League season, but I can see why it was disallowed. The issue for me was that they just looked a little bereft of ideas. And I'm surprised Germany lost after Paraguay missed those two penalties. I wasn't expecting Jonathan Tosh then, once you've gotten back to 5-5 and five penalties each and you're all tied up, to then basically do a Gabriel and sky the ball into row Z. And of course, Panama then held their nerve and scored. Mustafa, your thoughts on Germany in this World Cup, how they performed? Because they started off with a bang, 7 goals against Curacao. But the way it ended, I mean, surely the DBF must be looking at Nagelsmann's like, you know,
Yeah. And this is also like, if everyone's forgetting, this is back-to-back losses for them as well, because they lost to Ecuador as well, 2-1, in a similar thrilling fashion as well, with that 96th minute winner. Like if you guys don't remember, I've been calling this for this entire tournament that I have not believed in Germany at all. I do not believe in that midfield at all. I always thought they were going to cruise through the group stages and they were going to crash out early, right? And that is what has happened, because I think we will get to the major issues and why Germany has become like this later, in a bit. But like, it's not surprising to me.
I think we all agreed for the most part pre-tournament that this is perhaps a bit early for this German side. Maybe 2028, 2030 is we'll see them fully bloom. They have a superstar in the form of Kai Havertz, no doubt about it. He gets clutch goals, he gets
Mm.
important goals. He is that technical number nine they need. But behind him, that is the problem. Florian Wirtz and Leroy Sané, Jamal Musiala did not have the World Cup to remember, especially Leroy Sané. I think he
No.
was a major letdown. And of course, no Serge Gnabry anymore either. So it's a side in a bit of a transition period as well. And of course, remember they went down against Cote d'Ivoire as well, so they do have that soft underbelly of conceding goals. And talking about those penalty shootouts we've had with Morocco and of course with what do you call it, Paraguay and Germany, how bad amazing have they been? They've been sheer entertainment through and through, and certainly added a lot of drama to the World Cup.
so Germany now, since they won that World Cup in Brazil after that 7-1 annihilation and then beating Argentina, they haven't won a knockout game since the 2014
Mm.
World Cup, which is amazing. But if you look at the
They did
Bundesliga, the
not get
top
grouped twice, if I'm not
they
wrong. They
got
got
they
grouped
well
once
no
for
they
sure.
got grouped last year and then they got knocked out round of 16
Ah, okay,
the
okay.
previous year. But if you look at the Bundesliga, the two best players in the Bundesliga are not German. Olise, of course, is French. Harry Kane, of course, plays for England. Is this because one, there's been too much of a talent concentration in Bayern Munich, so then the rest of the Bundesliga basically doesn't provide depth and development of talent. And two, is it that just like Serie A, the money is basically all moved away from the Bundesliga towards the Premier League, and they're just not able to develop the German national team?
I
Where do you
think
think
that's
these issues are?
I think that's a bit overblown, Doc, because you've seen Nick Woltemade went for big money to Newcastle, Kai Havertz went to big money to Chelsea, and then, of course, Arsenal. The talent is certainly there, and like Florian Wirtz, big money move to Liverpool. Jamal Musiala is the go-to guy. Well, not anymore for Bayern. Maybe he'll be looking a move away. That could be interesting with Michael Olise dominating at the World Cup and for Bayern. The talent is there. I'm not worried about their talent. Maybe the backline with Kimmich, they don't have that kind of character, that dog, who can be that guy who can lead them forward like Lothar Matthäus used to be, Jurgen Klinsmann used to be, somebody like that, Michael Ballack used to be. Maybe they're missing that kind of personnel, that kind of leader. Maybe they're a young side lacking a leader. That's where I feel perhaps they are just missing that one guy who can take them to the future. But technically, in terms of personnel, I think it's very, very overblown. They didn't play well for sure. You have to give a lot of credit to the likes of Ecuador, Cote d'Ivoire. As we saw, they fought hard in their quarterfinals as well. It's just a young German side, and I think they have a very bright future, in my personal opinion.
I am going to disagree with AZ over here because I think a lot of this has to do with Bayern essentially monopolizing the league so much, right? To the extent that in the last 10 years, it's literally, they've only been two.
But Mustafa, that's been the case forever, yaar.
No, no,
इसमें
no,
कौन
no,
सी कोई नई
not to
बात है?
this extent, right? When the last 10 years, there's literally been nine Bayern titles and only one Leverkusen title, essentially, right? If I'm not wrong, that it's not been to this extent, right? Where like most of these German players are not playing competitive games anymore, right? Because unless they're in the Champions League, if they're playing for Bayern, I think that's a very big issue.
I do think the likes of RB, Dortmund, etc., need to do a little bit more to move up. And then, can we agree on one more thing? The stutter step as a technique has to go. I don't know what
I
these
thought
players are doing.
Voltemade's Wi-Fi got disconnected. I'm like, has he frozen? What's
Oh,
happened?
I mean,
Terrible, man. Terrible.
he hit such a beautiful penalty. What was it, last season into the
I
top left
remember.
corner, and then the way he ran up, you knew he was going to miss.
hmm.
Let's
I
come
always feel
to
going down and low always feels a bit tricky because if you miss even a little bit,
a
then
little
of
bit.
course you got those
Yeah.
uprights are coming into the game. How many got pinged in that game and versus Morocco as well? Insane.
Yeah, I don't like the stutter step set, but I do like the slow step up, like how Messi does it and how like Bruno does it. Essentially, the like
Yeah, but
the
Messi's only career 70 something percent penalty taker.
that too.
Bruno, of
Yeah.
course, is different. But let's come to the game of the day for on certainly on Monday, which is a fantastic game between Morocco and Netherlands.
Oof.
To me, this game was only going to end one way when Ronald Koeman set up the Dutch basically in a back three, back five, and you could say football won because the Dutch didn't deserve to win this game,
Mm.
and it was wonderful to see Morocco won. Firstly, by scoring that equalizer, which was a scintillating
How good has Issa
finish.
Diop been, man? He's
Correct.
Mm.
too
It was
good,
a
yeah.
scintillating finish, scintillating headache, and then the way they won in the penalty shootout. I mean, talk the flair for the dramatics. This it was that game had everything, but I think at the end of the day, the more deserving team won. It was wonderful to see this way. I know we talked about the Dutch maybe being 4 years too early. Um, I think for the Dutch, finding the next coach, end this cycle of Koeman and who's hitting and all this stuff. Find the next coach that you can build up for the next 2 years for the Euros and 4 years for the next World Cup because there is talent there.
Yeah.
Mm.
There is a Dutch coach who won the FA Cup and the EFL Cup. Who is waiting for a job, so just give it to him. Get him out of
Who are we?
the
Who are we talking about? I don't know the reference.
Eric Ten Hag.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Van Nistelrooy, I think he's been prepared for the
No,
job. You saw him
Van
there, yeah.
Nistelrooy is a good shout as well.
Horse
Uh,
face.
yeah, but like coming back to the Dutch right now, right? I'm just very annoyed how I will have to listen to the stat of them not losing a single game, single World Cup game in normal time for since 2006 for another bloody 4 years, right? Because like I'm sorry, if you can't win it in normal time, you are as much losing it as well. Like I like it, if you're gonna play so negative, and this has been their problem since basically 2014, 2018, right? They've been playing so negative right? That they have refused to take the game to them. Even in Argentina, they had to force. Sorry, this is back in 2022 in the round of 16 game, I believe, right? Where they had to basically put in so many attackers because they were they were playing so defensive for the entire game.
I think Tiani Reinders not being there was a massive, massive loss
Mm,
for them because they had to go to that 5-3-2. It was really absurd with Nathan Ake playing there. Frenkie de Jong and Ryan Gravenberch clearly got overrun, and Verbruggen played out of his mind. I mean, he made 3, 4 proper world class saves, especially that one in extra time of Brahimi. The goal was right there, and he smashed it into him. Very unlucky, the Dutch for sure. I feel bad for them. Another day, another draw. They could have been semi-finalists quite easily, had a deep run. But the Atlas Lions, they're the team of the moment, man. The vibes are with them. Everything is with them. They play bright football. They play offensive football. I was disappointed with Brahim Diaz. He had a no-show, but they got carried by Ismail Saibari. He's having an MVP run in this
Yep.
tournament. What a dude that guy is. And Bayern Munich
He's
are
fully
looking to
bloodied
sign him.
face and everything.
yeah.
They're looking to sign him, and PSV Eindhoven are going up, 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 up. 80 million, 100 million, 20 million. The transfer fee for that dude is going to be massive.
No, it was wonderful to see them. And of course, they play Canada in the next round. They should easily make it into the
Yeah.
quarterfinals. Let's come to the games yesterday. I attended the Norway Ivory Coast game. And to me, this was a little bit like the Japan game in the sense that Ivory Coast dominated that game in vast periods. They
Mm,
just couldn't, they just couldn't get that final ball, couldn't punish the Norwegians enough. And at the end of the day, when you have a superstar finisher, the likes of Holland, all it takes is one moment and you're done. You're there. That's exactly what Haaland did. If you watch Haaland, there's a lot of the game where he
He
just
dropped a
basically,
2 out of 10, man. He was
yeah.
yeah,
nowhere in that
he
game.
Yeah.
he walks around disinterested, doesn't do much, but then he'll show up at the right time, and they just have um, it's a moments team, but when you have a superstar finisher like that, you can do that. Their midfield was overrun by Ivory Coast. I was
Mm,
a little surprised that, Ahmad got dropped, and you could see he almost equalized at the end with that fantastic free kick. He, of course, had that equalizer. Norway now play Brazil. I, to me,
They could
it's a
roll them over big time. They could roll them
correct.
over.
It's that's an interesting game. But your thoughts on Ivory Coast, Norway?
yeah.
AZ first.
Very frustrated because, like you mentioned, Cote d'Ivoire had the run of the game. The Norwegians looked very sluggish, very slow. They just couldn't get anything going. And Cote d'Ivoire dominated possession, especially in the first half. But then Nusa with that beautiful goal, the Leipzig winger, fantastic goal that was. Amad Diallo with an even better goal, fair
Mm,
play, one of the goals of the tournament. And but when he put on Oscar Bob and Schleiderup, the Benfica winger, that is where like you mentioned, it was a moments game. Erling Haaland, that beautiful pass they played through, split the defense and squared the ball to. And even he didn't even celebrate. He was embarrassed with the way he played that game. I think they have a problem with Sorloth because he's not adding a lot in that front pairing. Even Isak and Gyökeres has looked a bit awkward at times for Sweden. We can talk about that game later. But it's two hulking number nines who don't really understand how to play together. Of course, there is that star power as he's a star striker of Atletico Madrid. But you've got Oscar Bob and Schleiderup on the game, on the bench. I think you can start one of them rather than Sorloth and really play a focused 4-3-3. But Norwegians, they held their nerve. They've got that Viking row going as well in the stands, and they're going to give the Brazilians a good game. Really heartbroken for Cote d'Ivoire, but that's the way it's knockout football. It's very cruel.
yeah. I mean, even like their B team, right? They gave a like they obviously lost 4-1 to France in their last group game, but they gave them a good scare, a couple of scares here or there as well. What I'm excited to see is how Gabriel will do against Haaland because historically Haaland has always gotten the best of Gabriel in the Premier League, right? So that
I
is
think
going to
having
be
Marquinhos there might help him, I'll read the game better perhaps.
yeah, but still like but we've been talking about like you just guys talked about how like that Brazil defense is getting got at. So it could I still have Brazil going to the finals. Okay, I do. This is like my official pick in. I do have Brazil to go to the finals, but I could easily see Norway getting them out if like Haaland just gets a half chance and he beats Gabriel and Gus.
I think Norway have to increase the amount of balls they get to Holland. You have to supply him, and on the flip side, for defense, you just limit that supply. You know who I thought was disappointing yesterday? Jan Diomande. I don't see
Mm,
I
the
didn't see
price
the
tag.
hype. Agreed,
I
agreed.
don't I didn't see the hype, and he got hooked as well. I think in the 80th minute when you're chasing a game. Let's come to probably the team of the tournament. They've scored 3 goals in every single game. France basically absolutely crushing Sweden. There are 2 goals by Mbappe, one by what's his name, Dembele. Um, Boy, France look good, don't they?
I'm gonna make a very unfair comparison, but like I want to see if you guys agree or not. This France front three, front four. How does it compare to Brazil 2002?
That was a much more obdurate side, yeah. It was actually a
No, no,
boring
but I'm
side
just
to
talking.
watch.
But I'm talking about just the front, just the front.
This is way better, man.
No,
Come on.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
you didn't have a you fine you can say R9 Mbappe, but you didn't have a equivalent to Elise and
say-
Dembele, and I mean this French
And
team is
and
just
Olise, like he didn't start the tournament off well, but now that he's cooking, come on.
Oof. No, because
and the
Yeah,
mid
that
and the
overhead
mid
kick, man. Look at that.
yeah,
and the midfield is chugging as well.
yeah,
They're the
I was actually surprised to see Chouameni play ahead of Manu
yeah,
Kone because he played so well against Norway. But I think Deschamps has his favorites. He loves
yeah,
Rabiot, and
yep.
he certainly and anybody alongside him, it's Rabiot plus whoever. So
yeah.
He has a
Chouameni, I
finger on
guess
his
it's
pulse.
fair enough.
But they're playing their best football. Like this is the best
He's a very
football.
good player.
Yeah.
Always liked Rabiot
No,
for
no, but like
sure, for
I'm
sure.
saying France is playing the best football they've ever
वो
played
तो
under Deschamps right now, man. And like aside from that, can we talk about how Mbappe has the most World Cup knockout goals ever now? He has 10 World Cup knockout
Kylian
goals.
Dictador, man. You can't
Yeah,
mess with him.
bro, like
His some of his finishing has been oof.
I realistically I do not know if I have seen a better player in the World Cup. Like I know, nah, like we're gonna go historically and all that. Genuinely, I
Nahin,
have
it's a
not.
fair point because only
No,
Doc has seen
it's
Maradona. I haven't seen him.
I
it's a very fair point. He's already got one title. He's got one finals appearances where he basically dragged France
hmm,
back in- into that uh, into that final against
Oh,
Argentina,
he was the
and
best player on that pitch. I will not
he
listen to any
was.
other.
of
He was
course.
the
You're
best player
right.
on that pitch.
The other thing that really impressed me yesterday about France is they choked Isaac and Gyökeres. That D, I don't see the weaknesses in this team.
And even Upamecano, who usually gets,
Hmm.
blasted a lot for being a bit ill-disciplined, but dude is bugging
He
out in
was
this World Cup
there.
with Saliba, man. They're too good.
This is
France, of
what.
course, play Paraguay next, so they should get into the quarters as well pretty easily. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Mustafa.
Yeah, like comparing this to the 2018 team, which I still like. I still love that 2018 team. It's one of the best sides I've ever seen. I still give it to them a bit more because I just love
Pogba,
that.
Pogba.
Pogba.
Ah,
Pogba
boy,
is the difference, right? In
Pogba and
prime Pogba
Prime Pogba and Prime Kante as well, right?
as
Both of
well.
them too.
Yes.
Both of them together, and then you also had Prime Griezmann with that as well. That midfield was bleh, right.
ग्रीजमान ने थोड़ा स्टैट पैड किया था, but yeah,
Eh,
Pogba and Kante was on
because-
next level.
yeah,
You
the
can't
next
mess with
level.
that.
You got so that's why I was like, but like compare if you're taking are you taking this 2026 French team or that 2018 team? Because I think it's a toss up at this point.
I
देखते हैं
don't
ना
think
जीतता
it's.
कौन
We'll see, but
है.
I don't. I think that they're humming Dembele, Olise, and Mbappe right now. They're absolutely
And you
humming,
have
and
Due and Cherky coming off the bench, man.
yep,
It's
Yeah,
absurd.
it's just. Oof.
it's like and
Anyway,
also
let's
sorry, one last thing.
go ahead.
Also, switching Dembele to the right and Olise in the
Has really
center
helped.
is the thing that has made this team click
I
so
still
well.
feel Dembele, they're not getting the best out of him. He's a bit hot and cold.
He is,
When
but
he's hot, then he destroys the game. So what are you
Oof.
gonna do?
4 goals. Let's come to the final game, which I thought was just a fantastic game to watch. In the Estadio Azteca,
Uh,
Mexico basically ripping Ecuador 2-0. That first goal, you just felt that the stadium exploded. I watched the highlights on Telemundo, and if you watch it with the Spanish commentary, when that ball
Everything
went in,
should be watched on Telemundo.
oh
Everything
man,
in
it
life,
was.
even golf.
I mean, this Mexico team is a
They've
very
got
good
juice,
team.
man. They've
They
got
have
juice.
Jews. And Raul Jimenez, he missed a sitter of a hitter in that first half. But boy, they're playing with a lot of pace, a lot of verve.
mm,
And England plays DR Congo today. For if England win, um, to play Mexico in the Azteca is not going to be easy.
They don't want this smoke, man. They don't want this smoke
No,
And
for sure.
this is a very good Mexican team in Mexico. It'll be interesting to see what happens once they get out of
I felt
Mexico.
Ecuador was just emotionally spent
Oh
yeah.
for
yeah.
the way they had their roller coaster ride in the group. I mean, they just could not hang. I thought it would be a tight game, a physical game, but in the first 20, 15 minutes, the way
You could
Mexico came
tell
out
the
and
golf in
destroyed
class.
them, man.
But aside
But
from
this
sorry.
their fans are giving a true 12th man role as well.
Yeah. But I also like the thing I love about this Mexican team, unlike a lot of these other teams, because I get sick and tired of what I watch in European football a lot of time in club football, but it's so many sideways passes, it's so many backwards passes, it's about possession, possession, possession. They have no fear pushing the ball up forward and beating the man. Like, yes, that is what football should be about. It should be getting the ball at the back of the net. It is not about always recycling possession. It's not about all about having 100% 100% pass percentage. You need to get the ball at the back of the deck and get as many chances on goal as you can.
वो इस स्टेज पे इनके खिलाफ तो ठीक है, लेकिन जब बिग बॉयज आएंगे तब वो वर्टिकल
Yeah,
पासिंग पे
we'll see. But
एक्सपोज हो जाती है ना.
I do like the way Javier Aguirre has him set up, and the young Mora oof, looks like a player as well.
He looks good.
Oof.
He looks good. Let's quickly touch upon today's game. Of course, we have England against Dr. Congo. Someone asked me, why do you call him Dr. Congo? I had to explain to them. But and then, of course, the nightcap. Sorry, before the nightcap, of course, Belgium, Senegal. But then the nightcap,
Mm.
of course, a tricky game for the U.S. U.S. Bosnia in Santa Clara, which speaking for people here, everyone here,
Bougie.
yeah, when you speak to them, they think the Bosnians is just going to roll over. I think this will be a tough game. The
Hmm.
U.S. have to come out flying. I want
You
to see an
can
early
never
goal.
underestimate Balkan power, man.
Yeah.
They'll
Correct.
fight.
I think the U.S. needs a first quarter goal. They need a
Mm.
first quarter
Qu-
goal and then settle the
Doc, don't
nerves.
start this
Don't,
quarter
don't, don't start,
nonsense.
don't
Yeah,
start this.
it's a
Don't start this.
first quarter goal. You like that? I think they need a first quarter
Oh,
quick touchdown
They
there in
need
the
a
first
flyer.
quarter.
They need a flyer. Yeah, yeah,
They
I
need
agree.
a seven zip lead after the first quarter, at the very least.
No, I
Uh,
completely agree. The US have got juice, but the Bosnia are very, battle-hardened side,
they
and
are
they've got
battle
good
hard.
players, man. With Jeko Alejbegovic, he's a very exciting young winger. I've completely butchered his name, but he absolutely destroyed Italy in the playoff game as well. They've got
Correct.
that nous, they've got
They
that
have
ability.
knockout experience because of playing Italy, of course. Um, let's quickly touch upon the Golden Boot. This race is amazing. Messi 6, Mbappe 6, Haaland 5, Vinny 4, and of course Dembele 4. Oof.
I
All
think
the big
Mbappe
boys
is
around.
playing out of his mind. I think he's going to have a GOAT World Cup run and take France to the final. The way he's playing, his sharpness, and he's got the dictador got going. That's got his blood
He
flowing
is,
as
but
well.
Messi
He's got
has
he's
some
got the
stat.
backup. He's got the guns. He's got the dudes with him.
and
Who's gonna
Yeah,
stop him,
and
man?
but
everyone forget.
Messi has some stat pads coming
And
up.
Germany
Yes,
Cape
bottled.
Verde.
Germany got themselves out of their own way. So who's gonna stop Mbappe now?
and also aside from that, like Mbappe is should have gotten in my opinion, she should have gotten the golden ball in 2022 as well. He was playing that well. I know everyone's gonna say Messi, Messi, but like the man was incredible. The problem I have like he's gonna talk about Doc's gonna talk about Argentina's run right now, which is going to be Cabo Verde, probably
Yeah,
Egypt or Australia, and then probably Colombia, right? And like
would be hilarious if Egypt knocked them out. I'd love to see that.
I would love to see Cabo Verde knock them out, man.
अब वो तो अब नहीं होना ना. स्टैट पैड किंग है उनके
कैसे
पास.
कैसे कैसे पता है Vozinha got me. Vozinha got me.
वो सी-
I, I will give one prediction today. I don't think England is going to roll Congo.
Mm.
I think
It'll
that
be
is
like
going
the
to be,
Ghana game. It'll be late.
I think that'll be a tricky game. It'll be a tricky game
And
because I
they've got
think they're
a genuine goal scorer in Wissa. He knows how
correct.
to score
I,
goals, man.
and he knows how to play these players as well. I think they're missing that X factor. Jude is there, but I think this is where you miss the lack of a Trent, the lack of a Cole Palmer, so on and so forth. It'll be interesting to see the lineup because that Reece James is out and I think the other kid is out. Gerald Kwanzaa's out too, so it'll be interesting to see what Tuchel does.
The thing
That's
with
the early
Trent
game.
was you could at least spam crosses into the box.
Mm.
ये लोग ये भी नहीं
Correct.
करते. That's the problem.
And
The,
also
the
like
lack of creativity is going to hurt them because
Saka,
the,
were absolute stinker versus Ghana as well. He can't start today, in my
I'm
opinion.
surprised he didn't start limping at the end of that game.
yeah, yeah, and
The
also like
Arsenal slander in these podcasts is off the rails, is off the charts.
they do it to themselves.
Do it to themselves, of
They
course.
do it they do it to themselves. We're not slandering if it's truth.
I mean, when the Germany goal was disallowed, what did everyone compare it to? Well, they're like, well, if they disallowed
Mm.
these goals, the Premier League may
And
have
to be
had a
fair, the
different champion.
officiating, they've let a lot go away in this World Cup. A lot of rough play, especially in the
Yeah.
middle of the park. I was quite surprised they reined that back in, but thankfully it was something we wanted because Paraguay, man, love it. Love the vibes.
What do you guys think of, you brought up officiating, some of the VAR calls? Are you guys, obviously we're used to it
Mistaken
with
identity, that was the best one.
no, but we're used to VAR in say cricket, right? DRS. There's this, umpire's call. There's an error rate there. There's no umpire's call here. They're giving you offsides by toenails and stuff like that. You
Hmm.
guys comfortable with that? You guys okay with that?
The
Because it's
problem
Yeah,
is that they've gone all in on the technology, so they'll say, "Hey, we didn't do anything. It's the technology." So they've
yeah,
got their bases covered, especially that one goal with a half a toenail. I mean,
yeah,
toenail was
they're
out. Yeah.
absurd and so irritating, and that's why the Wenger rule, if it's adopted with nuance, I think that's the way forward for
yeah,
football. To be quite honest,
yeah. And honestly that for me, out there have no been like bad VAR calls except for like one that I really remember in that England game where like Konsa should have given up a penalty. Against who was it against? It was not Croatia. It was
It
their
was
Ghana.
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 Ghana. The
Yeah,
0-0. Yeah.
yeah, the Ghana game. That should have been a penalty. That should have been a penalty.
But
Aside,
they've set a high
uh,
bar for the clear and obvious for
yeah,
VAR to basically get involved.
yeah,
So. All right, gents. Fantastic group of games to look forward to today. It's been a very good tournament so far, but I think the cream is rising to the top.
yeah.
Hopefully, we get a couple more upsets, but let's see what happens.
I think Belgium will be on the ropes in this round, definitely.
I agree with you. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't call that an upset because I think this is not a
True,
vintage Belgian
Yeah,
team,
true.
and I
yeah,
think Senegal, that's a very good team there.
Very,
That's
very good team.
it's a
Would you
solid
call
team.
would you call Norway Brazil an upset
No,
If Nor
if
if
Norway win,
Norway,
if Norway won?
yes. Yeah,
yeah, that's
I watched Norway
Historically,
yesterday.
yeah,
I
yeah.
watched Norway yesterday. They're not that
They're
midfield is
not they're
they're not that good. That's
they're
a Holland
pretenders.
and
They're
correct.
not that side.
It's a Holland and let's see. Odegaard had that one
They're
pass,
not
but
them.
they're
yeah,
not them. Yeah, let's put it that way. They're not them. And yes, they have a fantastic crowd, but it's not. They're concentrated. They
Because
had a couple.
Odegaard, he's stinking up the World Cup like he did for Arsenal. That's the
yeah.
problem. He doesn't do
Yep,
anything.
yep. So, all right, gents. Thank you.